Hey, 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 what is up? What's happening? Welcome to Free Coaching Friday. You know what? I might as well. Let me kick something else off here. So, today I have at least one victim, special guest that I'll be coaching today, and going to see if we can help. What the heck? Trying to get this phone to. Here we go. All right. And see if we can help create a breakthrough. We want to give a shout out to Tara Quellhorst, which we had helped her with a massive breakthrough on Wednesday on Clubhouse. That was really, really cool. She was having a very common thing where her subconscious was blocking parts of her past where she didn't even remember something extremely major that happened to her. And we helped jog her memory, and she came up with it and had a big breakthrough. And so that was really, really powerful. So kudos to Tara for being vulnerable, for playing big. All right, and I'm going to kick off something here. 1 second. So I'm going to give away. Let's see what we do. We'll give away some of these. The Little Book of Big Impact. This is 150 quotes by yours truly, from Money Mindset to Rise and Serve. And so if you share this, drop me a comment that you shared, and I'll pick a few people to win. And in the meantime, I'm going to kick something off here. I keep saying that. All right. Okay, cool. All right, there we go. All right, so let's give away some stuff. What's up, Marilyn? Marilyn, I got to tell you, I am just loving your TikTok stuff. It's just so much fun. So cool. I'm so glad that you embraced that platform. All right, who winning? Who winning today? All right. Victoria Ralph gets one of our Little Book of Big Impacts. Albert Chaparro Mendez gets one of the Little Book of Big Impacts. Let's see here. Who else we got? Donna Werner Brown gets a Little Book of Big Impact. All right. And we might do some more here in a little bit. Oh, cool. Style saw me on the platform tour yesterday. That was cool, right? So yeah, I shared the virtual stage with Floyd Mayweather, Damon John, Grant Cardone. Who else was Sarah Blakely? Like just some really amazing rock stars. So I was honored to be a part of that. That was yesterday. All right. So on Free Coaching Friday, I usually bring up two people and coach them live in front of you. I don't know if number two is going to make it, but that's totally cool. Oh, if I said your name, shoot an email to support@higdongroup.com and we'll get your address and send it out to you. Okay. Support@higdongroup.com. And we'll mail it out to you. Also, if you would like to crush it during the holidays, I would highly suggest that you jump into our Guided Goal Power Group, which starts here in a few days. Here in just a couple days, our Guided Goal Power Group starts. It's a 4-week coaching group, and it's at higdongroup.com/goals. Time is a ticking. You're running out of time to join that. If you want to join it, higdongroup.com/goals. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up our first guest, possibly only guest, but our first guest is Martin. Martin, what's going on?
Hi, Ray. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. So tell me, where are you at? How can I help?
Okay. So I've been in network marketing now going on 4 years. Um, been rank makers and Higdon Group for almost all of that. In that 4 years time, I've bounced a number of times to new network marketing companies. I'm with my current company, which I'm committed to now since January. Have in all of those efforts combined, a handful of sales total over those years, and one recruit which bowed out after about a week. So what's been happening is a lot of starts and stops, and getting fired up and motivated, getting into action, coming up against resistance and discomfort, and never consciously making the decision to quit, but that's what happens. I end up stopping, and then only to start up again at some point, and go repeat that cycle of, first of all, I would say it's important to know that I'm a learner, and in my past, I have been a learner. I'll use that language, and have been stuck in those cycles of just anything that I become interested in, reading every book and taking every workshop and seminar I can get. And so same thing has rung true in network marketing. So it's clear to me, I'm using learning to procrastinate, to avoid the discomfort, to break through, the walls of doing things that are outside my comfort zone. I seem to manage to do that for short bursts.
Yeah.
And then get stuck and don't even realize it happened until it's after the fact. So I don't consciously make a choice to stop. It's just one day I don't get the work done, and then that becomes another day, which turns into a week or a month easily. And now I'm realizing, hey, I'm no longer in action.
Got it. All right. So first, so I can tell you've seen some of my laser coaching, right?
Lots of them.
And so you heard Martin say something where he said, hey, in the past, I've been a learner, right? And so when we have a trait that we identify with that doesn't serve us, it is helpful to set it in the past and say in the past or up until now. I think now that I've kicked these both around, I actually think in the past is more powerful because it distinguishes more. However, it's not that you want to stop being a learner, right? You want to stop just being a learner. So in the past, I would only learn, but I'm getting better at learning and executing. Might be a more complete statement there, because it's not like we don't want to learn anymore. I learn every day. I learned something new. I had one of my biggest breakthroughs, probably my biggest breakthrough in the last at least 4 months this week. And just the recognition of how suppression of emotions keeps most people from getting to where they actually want to go. And, and it is good that you're not identifying that I bet prior to watching my laser coaching, you identified yourself as a procrastinator. Is that right?
Correct.
I like that you now have the distinction of I'm not a procrastinator. Procrastination is a weapon that is somehow being used to prevent me from doing the work.
Right.
See, that's different because, the two most powerful words you'll ever have are I am, right? So if you say I am a procrastinator, that's a setting of identity. And that's now we would have to dig out of that. So it's powerful. And it's powerful for you to notice and become aware of the weapons that are being used against you by you, of course, by your subconscious, right? Not by, conscious choice, but they are weapons, right? Another weapon is finding fault. On Wednesday when I was coaching Tara, she would have, very quick success in something, and then she would find something wrong, so that she would go start something else. And the reason she was finding something wrong is she had a very major letdown in her life. And so for her, if something's going really well, here comes the letdown. I'm going to beat it to the punch. Let me get out of that company. And so that's a common thing. And you'll have people their entire life say it was all the relationships problems, not theirs. It'll say it was all the company. This company had this problem, and this company was racist, and this company was this, and this company was that. And they'll be able to justify why they left all these relationships or businesses or jobs or whatever their whole life with a non-awareness that they actually located those scenarios that justified them taking off. And so it's powerful that you recognize that this is a weapon being wielded, not a part of your identity. And so the reason that people aren't, and this is, I used to say this, like the reason most people, but I've just, at least so far to date, it's been 100% accurate that the reason that someone isn't consistent and they're seeking consistent, which is a key element, is not laziness. It's due to they've drawn the wrong conclusion to success. They've drawn the wrong conclusion to success.
Yeah.
And so I guess, a couple questions that we'll start with is, were either of your parents successful, or were they successful and lost it? Like tell me a little bit about, what does success have to do with your parents, or who raised you?
Yeah. And by the way, I used to beat myself up with that label of lazy, I used to just bludgeon myself with that label.
Well, and that's another weapon, by the way.
Yeah.
If as weird as it sounds, if I beat myself up, I'm safe. Because if I beat myself up, then I'm taking away the time the world could have beat me up. And, although this sucks, me beating myself up is another weapon. It's a weapon used against you from becoming someone you're terrified of becoming, which has a negative connotation based on past observations. And so tell me about success and the parents, or who raised you.
So here's the thing. I have a story that's very different than most that I've seen in these laser coaching. Usually there's some dramatic trauma in the past, in the upbringing, and by all accounts, I had a nearly idyllic childhood. I'm the youngest of 5. I had 2 parents that loved each other and stayed together for 66 years until death do us part.
Are they both passed, or?
My father, 92 years old, is still with us. My mother passed away a few years ago at 85. So both have lived ripe old ages, very long lives, very healthy. And I had the benefit of spending a lot of time with both my parents in their 80s, a lot of personal one-on-one time.
It's awesome.
A lot of, my mother went through a little phase of needing some help. And so I moved in to help them and learned some things at that time that I didn't realize about my childhood that may come into play now with answering this question. So what I saw, here's my own self-analysis. I believe from an early age, I saw success in my father. My parents grew up in the Depression. And so why I think that's pertinent is because that stayed with them their whole lives. And they became very hardworking. And so that work ethic has been instilled in me from a very early age. My father he served in the Navy, Korean War, then became a physician, a pediatrician. And so and I'm the youngest of 5. So by the time I came along, financially, we were doing okay. But I started working at age 12 on a farm by my choice, because that was important. It was important to me. And what I started seeing from an early age, way before that, I saw my father as a pillar in the community. We're in a small town. And as the local pediatrician, everyone knew him. And thereby knew me. And because I was the youngest of five, I remember the first day of school every year, I'd walk into the classroom, the teacher would read off the attendance roster. They get to my name and they'd say, "Oh, you must be the doctor's son." So I was known, and in a good way, because his reputation was impeccable as a physician. So many people that I would meet, they'd say, "Oh," they see my last name and they'd be like, "You're the doctor's son." Your doctor, they'd have a story about him, how he saved their son's life or someone they knew, all these stories of him saving children's lives. So I grew up with that. He was my hero and my success role model. What I saw at an early age was, and this is in the days where doctors made house calls. He was on 24/7. And so what I think might have registered for me with success is a lot of hard work, a tremendous amount of responsibility, and time, away from your family. Almost every holiday, we'd sit down at the dinner table, Christmas, Easter, New Year's, and the phone would ring and he'd be called out.
Do you have
That's the
kids?
first thing. I don't. I was married 15 years, didn't have kids, now divorced, now in a wonderful relationship. I have stepchildren. But the other
How
part
long
of
have you had the stepchildren?
about 4 years,
And how old
about
are
the same time. The youngest is 14 and he lives with us. The others are adults and they're out on their own, young adults in their 20s. But here's the other part of success that I think, to the best of my ability, I kind of feel like the other thing that I saw was my father being attacked, even though he had an impeccable reputation. He was at one point, two major stories that I can recall. When I was a very young child, my mother reminded me of this story I'd forgotten until one of those times we were sitting around and she's in her 80s telling stories. And she brought up this story I'd forgotten. But it was a time when I was very, very young. I don't know if I was 6 or 8 years old, but it was around 5 or 6 in the afternoon. And my father wasn't home yet for dinner, which was common. He worked very long hours. But we always had dinner together. We always waited for him to come home for dinner. And he wasn't home yet. And the phone rang, and a gentleman said to my mother, "I have your husband. And if you want to see him again, you'll do what I say."
How old were you?
I don't know, but I probably was around 6.
Okay.
That was the first thing that happened. Another event many years later, so I was about 6, I was 16. And my father was sued for a procedure that all doctors do. If he had not given this procedure to the child, it would have been malpractice. But because something bad happened, the child died. Is that 1 in a million? The parents, naturally upset, brought suit. The prosecuting attorney hired an expert witness, another physician from out of town. He basically got paid to be an expert witness against my father.
Sure.
The first day of that trial happened to be the day after we had funeral services for my closest brother. He lost in a traffic accident. He was 18, had just graduated high school. So I think maybe this is what I saw as success, that you become successful, you don't have time, you're pulled away from your family, and you become vulnerable to attack.
Yeah. I mean, so at first I thought maybe it was the success means you work too hard and you don't pay enough attention to your kids. I actually don't think that's the issue. I especially think it's the issue because you don't remember it. And that's your body trying to protect you. That's your mind trying to protect you here. And so I see that you see success as unfair, as success is injustice. It's not fair. And that you can be the greatest person on the planet like your dad is and was, right? I know he's still alive, but I mean, back then, right? I assume he's no longer practicing at 92.
Correct. Yeah.
So you see him as such a great person, but he was unfairly attacked. And that's what success is. Success means that, no matter how good of a job you do, and oh, by the way, I don't know that I could ever do as good a job as my dad. And look at how his stuff turned out. How does that feel?
It could be right. I think I've given it a lot of thought in the recent years and months, and watching these coaching sessions really helped me to do more deep self-analysis and try to get at trying to pick away at it and find the root. And I'm not 100% certain, but I feel like over the past few weeks, this seems to be what's probably lurking underneath.
I mean, I think it's a combination of you going through those experiences in school, everyone knowing your dad, everyone having a great story about your dad. It's one, so you're kind of in that shadow, but even in that shadow, it's like, well, he was still unfairly attacked. He was still unfairly dealt with. There was still injustice there. So success means injustice. And, no matter how good you are, and hell, how could I even be as good as him anyway? And yet see what happened to him. And so, how did he handle after? Was the lawsuit like the last bad thing that happened to him?
There was another event that my mother struggled with. My father's brother was very skilled and talented in food and culinary arts. And so at one point, he decides to open his own restaurant, and he needs seed money. So came to my father. My father, of course, provides part of the seed money, and every indicator, he wrote the greatest business plan. This was a sure thing, fail-safe investment, but like many businesses, it didn't work out. It went bust, and all that money was gone. And I picked up on my mother having resentment about that. So could it be that maybe part of my identification with success is you become successful, people want your money. They sue you for it. They come to you for a handout or a loan, or, again, that more success, more vulnerability, less being more visible in general, which being an extremely shy person was another thing that I avoided most of my life. In the past, I avoided visibility, being visible. And it's through network marketing over these years that I've been chipping away at that, realizing that there isn't going to be success without becoming visible, and really trying to work on that and improve on that. But I do think, how it could relate in network marketing, we all know that we're going to get attacked. If we are building on social media, that's an inevitability. It comes with the territory.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think you've done a lot of great self-analysis. I just think you've drawn. Here are the bad conclusions to success, so let me avoid those things. And so a question would be, do you think I don't know the answer to this. You might. Do you think that your dad would trade all of those good things he did for all of those people in exchange for not experiencing the multiple bad things?
Not ever, not ever.
Of
It
course he
wouldn't
would.
even be a question. Yeah.
So neither should you. So you in your effort to avoid shitty things, right? You're like, well, if I never achieve success, but you have to look at it as it's not that he, you know, charged some exorbitant amounts as a doctor. I imagine he did it pretty bread and butter, right?
My dad
Or maybe
gave
even
away more
less.
services. My
So
mother also shared tons of stories, again, when she was in her 80s, about how he gave away anyone who couldn't afford it. No one was ever turned away.
right.
There's one short story she shared where uh, child services was going to take children away from the mother, a single mother, because they didn't have furniture in the house. My mom came home from shopping and all the furniture was gone. He gave it to them.
Yeah. So learn the lesson. Your dad had attacks, had lawsuits, had accusations, but he wouldn't trade all those things. He would still go out and impact all those people again. And, especially as, 6-year-old hearing that your dad was like kidnapped and stuff, right? Like, that's such a shock to the system that we hold on to that and we draw a conclusion. We draw a conclusion that visibility, speaking up, and that's probably when you decided to become a shy person, because no one is born this person is shy, right? They decide that based on observations. And so know that success doesn't have to mean how much money you made. You're in a profession where you can't make a lot of money without helping a lot of people. And so learn the lesson from your dad. If he had to do it all over, he'd do it all over. So you go out there and help people. You go out there and impact people, knowing, you're not bulletproof, right? You might get, I had an employee still $60,000 for me. Doesn't mean I stopped hiring employees. Doesn't mean I shut down the business. I've had my share of backstabbings and things like that. And that it is what it is. I wouldn't trade, what I do for, to eliminate those negative experiences. And neither should you.
Can I add one more thing?
Sure.
So another component that I think is probably maybe holds equal weight is the other thing that I started to unravel is in my childhood. The feelings of not good enough
Of
started
course.
at very early age.
How could it
And
not?
what started it was um, I remember being told that I was overweight, that I was chubby. And then there was a series of events over a period of years as a child that backed up that belief in me. I had, teachers make comments that nowadays they'd probably be fired for. I experienced that in public in front of all the other boys at seventh grade, very vulnerable age in the locker room. Going, well, there's a lot of stories I won't share, but playing football in fifth grade, it was an 80-pound weight limit. And in August to start the season, I weighed 85 pounds. So when the season started, the first game, and this happened then every game after, the coach had me show up at 9 a.m. for a 1 o'clock game in order to put hefty bags on and run around the track in the sun to lose the pounds so I could weigh in. And then I played every down on both sides of the ball. And that was my experience. That was my experience with wrestling, having to cut weight, and basketball, not fitting into the uniform, having to bring my own. And so how I think this plays in is just that ingraining of not good enough, And it showed up in lots of different ways. In some ways, body image was a big thing.
I think you're close in that, but I think it's, I don't want to be too good because too good is bad. I don't want to be too good. Let me sabotage being too good. And so, you're overthinking is helping to keep that model. Let me overthink so I can never be too good. Because too good, like my dad, means bad. Bad things happen. And so I don't know if you saw when I coached Kimberly and Greg earlier this week. Did you see that one?
Yes.
I would highly suggest that you do that exercise that I broke down for them. Do you remember the 5 Fs?
I do. I added it to my daily, my DMO.
Are you doing it?
I haven't yet.
Yeah. You should do that, especially before bed. Put that subconscious on pilot in a direction you actually want to go. And so, and this is where I had the breakthrough of suppression is what keeps most people from what they actually want. You're being told by all the gurus of focus on positive, power of positive thinking, and only think about what you want. And if you have these deep-seated, negative thoughts, that stuff isn't going to work. That's lipstick on the pig. That's, putting makeup on, the thing. It's not going to work. And so I would get down and dirty when you're going counterclockwise, like I talked about. Get down and dirty, right? I mean, I get down and dirty. I say I'm not a good dad. I'm a terrible teacher. I have a horrible relationship with my wife. People don't like to be around me. I get down and dirty. I'm dead broke. I can't even cover my bills. Money is difficult to find. I get down and dirty when I'm going counterclockwise, but then I go unlimited potential when I go clockwise. And if you're watching this and you didn't see that, it's on my Facebook page. It's when I coach Eric and Kimberly Elam, I think is their last name. But that was earlier this week. But I would definitely, for you, I would start doing that. And in a couple weeks of doing that every night and stick to that, let's see, where you're at. So report back in, reach out to Mary Kate.
Okay.
Okay. Helpful?
Very much so. I appreciate it so much. Thanks, Ray.
And just know your overthinking is a protection mechanism too. So catch it and say, here I am again. Once you become aware, you can choose differently. Oh, rooting for you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate all you do.
All right, Martin, everybody, give him some love. Give him some, they come out here. They're extremely vulnerable. He shared a lot of stories with you. Yeah, Elam, Gregory and Kimberly Elam, right? And so, all right, our next victim, special guest. We're going to bring out Pat. Pat, how are you?
I'm good, Ray. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Did you catch some of that or all of that, or? I
caught all except the very beginning of it, and it's funny because I think there's a lot of similarities between Martin and myself. So
this is why I do this stuff. I used to. One of my coaches, Hank, he's like, dude, you're an amazing coach. How come people don't know it unless they're a client? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, you need to be going live and coaching people live. You need to be showing people what you do. And I'm like, well, they probably don't want to share this stuff. And he's like, yeah, they don't. He's like, but this will help people. So the reason I'm now addicted to this live coaching model is that people are every laser coaching I have, someone says, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Oh my God, that helped me. And so like I'm helping one person, yet it's affecting a whole bunch of other people. So that's why we do this. So Pat, same thing, like, tell me where you're at. How can I help?
Okay. So I am with a health and wellness company, been here over 3.5 years now. Love it. It's love the products and the way that we help people. I do have a small team that's kind of recently been reignited, and there is some duplication. I think my leadership skills probably still need some work. And I have had some success. Now, this is my sixth network marketing company. I started back with Amway
Six?
when I was like 20, 21.
Oh,
So
okay. So
I've
not
been
the
in and
last
out.
3.5 years.
Not in a short period of time.
Okay.
And the 5 previous to this one, I was wildly unsuccessful. So,
Okay.
so this one I have had success. I am happy in that regard. I just want more success. So now that I've had some, and the way that I touch people, I just want to be able to do that more and better. And yeah.
So do you struggle with consistency, or like where do you feel you struggle?
Yeah, for sure. That's a big one for me. I'm a champion.
Like?
In the past, I've been a champion procrastinator. I am working on that, and I have coached Jenny Hendrickson, so she's amazing, as you know. And we've had a couple of sessions so far, and yeah, so I'm trying to kick that procrastination to the curb. Not successful every day, but I am getting better at it.
Got it. And I probably should have mentioned both, I believe, Martin and Pat. Let me just ask him. Martin, you're in Inner Circle, right?
Yes, I am. Wonderful
Oh,
Coach
okay.
Kaylee.
Coach who? Oh, Kaylee. Okay, great.
Yeah, who's amazing.
She's probably tough on you, isn't she?
Yes, but I'm learning a lot and making progress. She's wonderful.
Good. Awesome. All right. So yeah, both these guys are in our Inner Circle coaching. And so one of the things is I pretty routinely grab Inner Circle clients and we will do a session like this. Not that it's part of their package or anything, but I do a session with them. So talk to me about, what does that look like? What does that look like as far as, are you consistent for a period of time, then fall off? Are you just randomly consistent? Like what does that look like?
More randomly consistent for a few days.
Is it when you get a result that you become inconsistent?
Probably, yeah, I think so.
So
like
you get a recruit.
things will get like, we'll get the train rolling, and we'll be going up to the top of the track, and then it's like we're almost there and catching some momentum, and just before I get there, it's like, yeah, okay, that's fine.
So again, it is 100% of the time it's drawing the wrong conclusion to success, and it's based on a past observation you made. And so talk to me about success and parents. What is that? Were they broke? Were they wealthy? Were they successful?
Yeah. When I was growing up, I grew up on a farm, and back in the late 70s and early 80s, when the interest rates went through the roof, my dad was in a partnership with his brother. So my aunt and uncle and their kids, their daughters were like my best friends growing up, and until I was about 12, 13 years old, probably. So when the 70s, 80s hit, the finances got hard, and my parents almost lost everything. And during that same time, the partnership with my dad's brother hit the skids. And when I was 12, my 3.5-year-old little brother died in a farming accident. And things got pretty hard after that. My parents are still together, but it was really hard on the family. And I'm the oldest, and I have a brother that was older than my brother that passed, and a sister that was younger. So,
sorry to hear that.
Thank you. It was rough. It was pretty difficult time for the family, because not only did you have the loss of, for me, a sibling, for my parents, a child, but also all the added financial strain. And I watched my dad work himself almost into the ground, but he managed to save everything. But to see him working that hard was really tough.
Yeah. So couple things there. One, One, I hope an observation that people make is I've done so many of these laser coaching sessions, and so many of the times the loan to brother or brother-in-law, the partnership with brother or brother-in-law, most of the time that doesn't work. And so I hope people are learning that, partnerships are tough. They're really tough. Partnerships with family, oh,
Even harder.
just chew broken glass or something. Like
And
choose a different source of pain, because partnerships with family, it's just so tough. It's so rare. And I'm not saying it never happens, but it's so rare. Oh my God. The odds are so against you for a partnership or a loan to a family member. Like if you're going to loan to a family member, be okay never getting it back and don't be emotionally tied to it, then fine. But a partnership, very, very tough. I've only heard this kind of story a million times. So I'm curious, you said, I think if I understood it right, you were best friends with the brother's kids.
Yeah,
So
his two daughters were 1 year older and 1 year younger than me. And when the partnership, like obviously that caused a family rift, and my best friends, I could no longer, I wasn't allowed to see them really. So
do you have a relationship with them now?
Yeah, to some degree. And with my aunt, my uncle's passed away now, but with my aunt, some relationship, and with my cousins, we do keep in touch and stuff. There's no animosity there or anything, so
That's
that's
not
good.
the same.
It's not the closeness that we had at one point. No.
And I'm sure that really, really hurt.
It did at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So were they like successful? Then this thing happens, they lose it, and then he gains a little bit, or does he gain it all back, or like how'd that work?
So my dad, you wouldn't know it to look at him, but he's doing well. So through the years, he built back, and yeah, he's doing well. He has a trucking business as well as the farming, and so yeah, he's doing okay now. So he gained it all back and then some. They were doing okay. Again, he was kind of like up the track. He was getting to the top, and then the financial situation changed, and then the partnership and everything, and so he ended up very low, but built it all back.
I want to stop for a second. I want to point out. I wish I had like a TV camera to like rewind or something. You made the exact same for yourself as you did your dad. The exact same. I mean, if I had it side by side, it's a physical pattern, because you see his journey as your journey. And as he was climbing this thing, eventually smack in the face, something really bad happened. So if we think that as we climb the ranks, or as we go up the success hill, there's a punch coming, we will avoid that. We'll say, and so what we do is we create this invisible upper limit. It's just an upper limit here, and it's like, okay, where about was dad? He was probably about there. So let me get inconsistent. Let me let some people quit the team. Let's let some, let's join a different company. And then because I like the climb. I have potential. I have desire. I like the climb, but oh yeah, I'm close. Let me go back down. Nice and safe. Whoo, avoided that, because you have this line here, and that line, it's imaginary, right? But you created it, so it's real. This is a real line. And it could be, and it's probably, I'm willing to bet, more of a feeling than a dollar amount.
Maybe. Yeah, it might be.
So is there a feeling that you get like you're climbing up the ranks, and you get this feeling of maybe some stress, some anticipation, some like, or is it a dollar amount? Is it
I think actually it's a dollar amount.
Okay.
I do, because
if you've stayed under a very specific dollar amount, then it could be a dollar amount.
Yeah. Yeah. It probably is a dollar amount.
This is, a very common scenario. It's an extremely common scenario that what we observed as a kid had us draw the conclusion to success, right? Success means that, as you climb, at some point, you're going to lose your best friends. At some point, you're going to have financial calamity. You're going to have devastation in the family. You're going to, and then to make up for it, you're going to have to break your back to bounce back. So how do we mitigate our risks? We mitigate our risk by not quite reaching that point, but let's keep close to it, because if we keep close to it, then we reap the highest reward we can without major risk.
Right.
So that's what's happening. Is if we want to avoid the fall, we just won't climb as high. So the fall doesn't hurt that bad, right? If we stay under this dollar amount, then the fall isn't that bad. We'll get by. But if we climbed all the way up here and then plummeted, that would be really tough.
Right. That makes sense.
So the new conclusion that I would suggest is, look at how do I best honor my dad, right? How do you best honor your dad? Your dad, and he's still alive, right?
Yeah.
I think you said, yeah. So how do I best honor my dad? How you best honor your dad is to take his work ethic, take the lessons, right? No family business, no family loans, don't do this, right? So take the lessons, take the work ethic, and go build the hell out of something that you love. And know that you, like your dad, you do have the ability to build back if you had to, but that's not a premeditated journey. That's not at this point, Pat must lose it all. Like there is no tablet in the sky that says at X amount of income, Pat loses everything.
Right.
It's not true.
Right.
You can go out there and impact a whole lot of people, make a whole lot of people happy, make a whole lot of money. Do you have kids?
Stepkids like Martin.
Stepkids. Y'all got stepkids. That's great.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that you want to be a good role model for the stepkids as well.
Yeah.
And so, be that role model of someone who plays full out, not someone that plays the deck that their father was dealt or the deck that someone else was dealt, but you play the hand that you were dealt. And you have the ability to, if you have the ability to do this, you have the ability to do this. You have the ability to go much, much, much further. And so my advice is stop living this half life, waiting for the shoe to drop, waiting for the calamity to happen, and instead say, you know what, it may happen. And if it does, I'm tough enough to figure it out and fix it. But why go halfway? Why not go make a big difference? And that's one of the beauties of network marketing is, you're not you're not some other career where the amount of money you make may not be beneficial, right? You're in a career that the more money you make, it literally means the more people you're helping, the more people you're getting your product in their hands or service, you're helping other people rank, advance, etc.
And I do love that aspect of network marketing, that part of the business model is just like amazing to me. And to be able to help people like customers feel better and people on the team to help them reach their goals, right? Like they've got dreams too, right? And to be able to see them working their way towards their dreams is the best.
Yeah. Has your dad told you that he's proud of you?
And I would love that so much.
So something I covered last week in Rank Makers is I would suggest for you specifically, because that would be meaningful, wouldn't it? I can tell. So I want you to just in your head, I want you to see him saying whatever he says to you, sweet pea, whatever he calls you, right? So see him, whatever he calls you, and I want you to see him say, I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you. And you start playing that in your mind and start feeling that emotion of what that would feel like. And watch how that alters how you show up. And I'm telling you, if you hold that and you believe it and you feel it, you will have that happen. You will see it happen. Just like I've created conversations in my head that then later happened, literally word for word. And it's because I believed it was going to happen. I felt it. I felt as if it already happened. I felt the emotion as if it was happening right at that moment. And you feel that. It's a very, very powerful thing. Is this helpful?
Yeah. That might be actually hearing my dad say that might be the thing that would keep me consistent.
Yeah. See that and know that, again, you're not on this already determined journey of once you reach here, then you're going to fall down. That's just not the case. And I do just want to point out, in network marketing, it's actually difficult to go bankrupt in network marketing because you just don't spend that much money.
He says to the girl that almost did go bankrupt because of network marketing.
Well,
that happened back in 2008, 2009 with one of the opportunities I was involved with. We did almost lose it all.
How much? Like, did you buy a bunch of product? Like, what did you do?
Yeah, it was very, very expensive product, and I overreached, and that was
don't buy a bunch of product. You don't have to. Right? I mean, it's easy with a restaurant. I mean, a restaurant, you're 200 grand in, you're not even open yet.
Yeah.
Right? My buddy, he's got a brick oven pizza. It was $80,000. It's easy go broke with a restaurant, especially now with all the weird COVID rules and everything. Like, it's ridiculously easy to go broke as a restaurant or some other kind of traditional business. It's actually difficult in network marketing. I mean, and some people, they compare it to a job. Okay, with a job, you may not have expenses. You don't have any freedom. You don't own that job either, right? With network marketing, you don't go crazy and drop 100 G's on product or $20,000 on product. Like, do it the right way, right?
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
I learned my lesson.
Yeah, that was a good lesson to learn. It's a good lesson to learn.
Yeah.
But no, and I wonder if you were living into that expectation back then. I wonder if you were living into that expectation of, see, told you so. And that's what your subconscious does. It says, told you so. See, look, I told you not to, shoot for the moon. You did. This is what happens when you shoot for the moon. It's not true. It doesn't have to be true.
Right.
So Pat, you feel good about moving forward?
I do. Thank you. That
awesome.
That uncovered quite a bit for me, and I appreciate that a lot.
Awesome. Well, give Pat some love, drop her some gratitude. We had amazing Pat and Martin just rocked it out. So thank you. Appreciate you for being vulnerable. And
thank you.
Both you and Martin got some amazing comments on here.
Oh, thank you.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So that wraps up Free Coaching Friday. I hope you got value from that. I'm sure that there's so many people that can resonate with one or both of their stories. And if you want help around, especially around the holidays, highly suggest that you check out our Guided Go Power Group. It starts next week. So you're running out of time if you've been procrastinating to do it. Jump into the Guided Go Power Group. It is an extremely affordable way for you to get some coaching and a group coaching kind of format. And that's at higdongroup.com/goals. higdongroup.com/goals. I appreciate you so very much. Happy Friday, and everyone have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.